Matter of fact, this fence is rated as safe to use around a swimming pool, which is something you should consider if that's where you're installing your fence. Before we set the posts in concrete, we'll install these caps on top. We want our bottom fence rail to be at least 2 inches above the ground to allow for yard work. So we'll mark our posts where our ground line will be. Now in the last video, I showed you how to dig the post holes. When you're working with prefabricated fence panels, you only want to dig a few holes at a time. The manufacturer will recommend spacing, but typically it's going to be the width of your panels on center. There are 3 different kinds of posts, and the ones you'll need depend on where they are in your layout. End posts have holes in one side. Line posts have holes in opposite sides, and corner posts have holes in adjacent sides. Now I'll be starting at a gate, so I'll use 2 end posts. If you don't have a gate, just start at an end post or a corner post, also called a terminal post. To set our posts, we'll add just enough gravel into the hole to bring our mark up to ground level. Next, I'm going to set the gate post against the layout line, and I'll hold it in place with clamps and braces. Then I'll make sure the post is plumb with the post level. Now I'll add concrete and water, following the manufacturer's instructions. I'll work it to about 2 inches below ground level, so I can add dirt later for the grass to grow back. Okay, I've set the other gate post in place. Now if you're working with aluminum fencing and you buy a gate that's listed as, say, 46 inches wide, you want to set your posts 46 inches apart. That's because typically manufacturers allow for the hardware, but check your manufacturer's instructions. Now that our gate posts are set, we can start attaching our panels. Now when you're dealing with a grade change, like we are here, some fences can be racked to match the grade, or you can stair-step your fence. In either case, make sure you adjust your post spacing accordingly. Our first panel will go from our inside gate post to our soon-to-be installed terminal post at the house. And since this is less than a full panel, we need to cut it. To do that, I'll temporarily set the post in place, then measure between the posts on center. Then I'll transfer that measurement to the panel, keeping an equal space to the first picket on both ends. Then I'll cut the rails and notch them just like the factory ends. Now that it's cut, I'll take the panel and slide it into the holes on the gate post and use blocks to support it. Next, I'll put a post into the hole and slide it onto the panel. I'll hold the post and panel in place with clamps and braces. Next, I'll add concrete, then secure the rails to the posts with screws. Okay, the first panel is up, so I'll continue working along the run. For panels that attach to corner posts, to allow both rails to fit, you'll have to use a hacksaw or a jigsaw to cut a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square from the rail ends of one panel. Our fence is starting to look pretty good. Now the next step is to attach the gate, which I'll show you how to do in the next video in this series.